Guys, our friends at Ridge have done it again. After creating the world's greatest wallet, they have now launched the Ridge key case. You no longer have to be bulked down by your old jangling keychain. You got to try it out for yourself. Click on the link in the description below. Use the promo code Chael. That's going to get you 10% off. And look how good it goes with my Ridge wallet. The Ridge key case secures between 2 and 6 keys. It organizes your keys in a compact silhouette and folds out for easy access. There are 6 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and my favorite, burnt titanium. The Ridge team is so confident that you like it, they're going to let you test drive it for 45 days. If you don't love it, send it back, get a full refund. Go to ridge.com/Chael to save 10% today, or just click on the link below. Suga Sean, guys, how should he be handling this? And you know what? I have to take everything, and I'm going to the post-fight press conference, but I have to take everything that Dana said, and I'm almost moving it out of the way. I'm not sure that Dana could hear the questions. I mean, but there was something going on there. There was something going on with the responses, and there was other fighters that came up, and they even said, huh? What? So I've got my own interpretation, but my interpretation is Dana, who knows that he's making a program, knows that huh and what and I can't hear you doesn't look good for the audience. I think he was just trying to get through that thing. I really think that. I think there was some misunderstandings going. Let me give you an example. We're told before the fight if Suga Sean beats Jan, and Suga Sean goes up. At one point, he was a 4-1 underdog. It closed no closer than 3-1. But if Sean wins, he'll be fighting for a championship. Now, that wasn't just believed by us. This wasn't the main event. This wasn't the attraction. This wasn't even a title fight. This isn't what you were using to pull people in. This was a meaningful fight on the card between 2 really good guys. But other people within the division believe that as well. Aljo spoke about, if I beat Dillashaw and Suga beats Jan, Chito Vera is looking for a different match. Chito Vera, who I believe to be a very clear number 1 contender, himself was looking for another match. He believed the number 1 contender was going to come out of this. Now, we're just minutes removed. The arena's not even swept up yet. The cage isn't even being torn apart. Minutes removed, we go to a press conference, and all of a sudden, we don't have Suga in the discussion at all. As a matter of fact, we have Henry Cejudo. Well, let's just juxtapose those real fast. Let's just be real fair people. Did Suga Sean have the kind of performance you thought that? Fill in the blank. Should Suga Sean have won that match? You fill in the blank. And also don't forget what you're doing. You're not attacking Sean, you're attacking 2 judges. 2 out of 3 judges said the same thing. 2 judges that are prepared, viewed to be professional, brought in experts assigned to the match. 2 of them had the same opinion. So if you want to tell me that Suga should not have won or didn't win, that's who you're really attacking. But now we're left with to deal with the result, which is we have a guy who won, who we said if he wins is going to go into X spot. The post-fight press conference, Henry Cejudo's name came in. Okay, great. Henry is always a good choice. For Henry to return for the championship that he never lost, like that works for me. I have no problem with it. I'm just sharing for you, we're taking a performance. We're taking a very hard and gritty and difficult in a different continent, training camp in the books, weight class made performance, and we're putting that up against a non-performance. This wasn't a matter of Henry and somebody fought and Sean and Jan fought. That's not what happened. We're saying no performance. No training camp done, no bout agreement signed, no defeat of the scale trumps a victory where apparently we're questioning 2 professional judges. Apparently, is there another way to say it? Did my words lead you to one way or another? I'm not attempting to. I'm attempting to tell the story for what it is. How would we possibly bring in a guy that didn't do it at all and say that that was better than a guy who did do it? How are we getting there? And it's an interesting game being played. I mean, what a difference a day makes. I do believe that Henry Cejudo, as a 2-division sitting champion, a true triple champion because of the freestyle gold medal, I do believe that Henry can walk in and be given any opportunity there is with no argument. That even includes 145 pounds, which he's never tested before. I do not think you have a good sales job going on there at all. That would seem reasonable to me. But the reality was 3 days ago, that answer was no. He does not have any fight booked whatsoever. I'm talking about Henry Cejudo. He went from no fight booked, 0. Not having the meeting, not having the conversation, not getting the ball rolling to a championship bout over a guy who went out and won. Interesting. That's interesting. Because if we unwind that, that's going to be equally as difficult. Now we're going to give Henry a match, but it's not going to be a championship match. That's hard. We're going to give Sean a match. Well, who are we going to do it against? We're going to give Jon a match. That one's going to be very tricky. There's just not going to be guys calling for Jon. They're just not. There never have been. Jon is as good of a fighter as you're going to find everywhere. He'll hurt you on the feet. He's got good wrestling. He protects himself on bottom. Conditioning's never a factor. I mean, right? Petr Yan is just a damn good fighter. The only problem and the only place, and Sean has been very open about this. Sean did an interview immediately following in the cage. He paused. He said he wasn't sure that he won it. Sean has now done interviews since returning home. And he said, guys, what do you want me to do about it? I didn't force this. I'm an objective guy. I had my opinion, but none of that is weighed into the decision. And here we are. That's fair. That's honest. I like that from Suga. I really do. But Suga has one potential problem. This is not a matter, and I think that you guys would see this as 3 prongs, right? 1 is that Suga goes and fights for the belt. 2 is that Suga doesn't fight for the belt. 3 is that Suga fights somebody else in a contenders match for the belt. Well, no. The bigger problem is, and why it is absolutely important that Sean move this narrative in a different direction, is rematch. The only good news that Sean, that's the last thing you want to do. Rematching a guy, if it's not for a belt, what is the point? Why do we have to do it? Guy, I fought Trevor Prangley 3 times. I fought Jeremy Horn 3 times. If I'm wrong, I fought him 4 times. I fought Babalu 3 times. I mean, I will tell you, they're not helpful. You can't go anywhere. Sometimes you want to get it back, but what do you get out of it? You already told me if I beat him, this happens. I've already beat him and this didn't happen. Why would I go and do it again, right? It's a really tough spot. And the one good thing that Jon has, I apologize, Suga Sean has in his favor is Jon is not smart enough to play this game. If Jon had already started banging the drums and lighting the fires, we would be headed for a rematch, for sure. Which would be an incredibly helpful thing for Jon. The good news for Suga is Jon isn't going to play. Great. But you still have to stop the idea, right? You want to kill a man? Why? When you can just kill the idea. If you could just take the idea, you take all the power out of it. And this is the direction I fear that it's heading. And I fear that it's heading that way, 1, because I understand sometimes you get away with one. Sometimes that's sport. But Suga can't take heat if the judges aren't taking heat. Doesn't go that way. Who's next that you're going to blame? You're going to blame Bruce Buffer because he's the one that announced it to the world? You're putting the fault on the wrong guy. I think that's wise that Suga say that. I don't think Suga's adding anything to this, and I think he's going in the right direction, but he's only handling the decision and attempting to explain that. It has to be what's next, right? The what next will tell you what the decision was. If you go down in the rankings, regardless of what the decision did, you've now been told. If you get a lower placed one on the card, doesn't matter what the decision was, you've now been told. If you were supposed to have a title fight, but then you don't get it, you've now been told. And I fear it as a fan. Because I think when you have these controversial matches, to get closure, I think that the history of the sport is very correct to go ahead and just do it again. But what would I do as a fan? If I'm now really watching this match, I'm really paying attention because I've been told it's a number 1 contenders match. I was already told that. That's going to upset me. That's going to bother me. If I can't count on it, why are we doing it? And I only warn that if this doesn't get resolved, if Henry's coming in, a guy that fought absolutely nobody, didn't make weight, didn't do any of these things, if he gets the nod over you, where do you go next? And if the answer is rematch, listen, you've got a problem.